Liftoff.
Hey, you.
Hey,
Ready to go? All right. Welcome to The Difference, um, radio show that's built around business professionals. And what we talk about each Tuesday are things that we've experienced or we have seen other people experience that has helped them make the difference in their careers, their business to business relationships, their industry, community, and find ways to turn the acceptable into exceptional. Today, I am joined by my co host, Brian Dobbs.
hello.
Howdy. And we are excited to announce we've got two brand new sponsors and co hosts. We've got Steve Pine with Patterson Insurance, and beside me here is Kendra Strachan with Fidelity National Title.
Hello.
How are you?
Good morning. Good.
All right. So, before we get started, what we're going to be talking about today is commitment and the value that can be found in commitment and how to use that as a catalyst for exceptionalism. So, what we're going to talk about, we want to talk about what commitment really is. What does it really look like? Okay, we use that word a lot.
We do.
But I'm not sure that we understand what it actually looks like. And so, why is it important? And how can it increase the value that we offer, as well as increase the value that we can expect back? Right?
Right.
I think a lot of times we don't understand that our commitment to something can bring more value back to us than just what we're offering by being committed to it. And then we're going to finish that out. We're talking about conditional and unconditional commitment. But before we get started, Brian, I want you to start first. I want you to tell everybody who Brian Dobbs is and a little bit about Brian.
Well, I again, I appreciate being on the show and co-hosting with you. I think it's fantastic. I'm a speaker, author, and business coach. So published my first book last year, uniquely called. It talks about your purpose, your vision, your calling, living out your faith in the marketplace, which is definitely a passion of mine.
Mm-hmm.
And then taking what you and I talk about quite often on the business coaching, teaching about customer service and teaching about ethics and morals and values and character that it really takes to be that outstanding professional to make an impact in your surroundings.
Right. Ever experienced any challenges with commitment with people that you've coached?
Oh, no, not at all.
Okay, good, good. You got to teach me. I'm gonna have to hire you as a coach to teach me on that because that's my struggle. Beside me is Kendra Strachan. Kendra, tell everybody who you are, who you work with, and a little bit about you.
I am Kendra Strong with Fidelity National Title. I am our business development VP for McKinney. So I work on all of Collin County. So I cover anything, you name it, east in the Collin County area. And my role, honestly, is to bring business to the brand, to bring business to Fidelity. So that could be with realtors bringing their listings and their contracts, as well as lenders bringing their refis to us. But that is my end goal, and that's what every day I know I've got to bring in the sales. However, a big part of that is also connecting, and it's connecting with the various realtors and lenders, as well as other vendors, insurance. It's with warranty. It's with inspectors. It's with a lot of mortgage companies that just want to, get in front of, especially if they teach C classes, to get in front of their people. But my role also is to provide a value for the realtor. So it's basically to have classes that they need, to try to figure out what one-on-one they need, to meet with them one-on-one, find out what they need, what value I can add to their business and how I can help their business grow, and basically hopefully to get them to commit to send us the listings. The commitment's huge in our business, huge, but and it's more or less just to kind of stay in touch with them consistently on a constant basis, which is not easy. Follow-up's probably one of the hardest things in our business and hardest to remember to do every single day and add it into it. But it's basically provide a value. It's continuing education classes from our legal 1 and 2 classes to just getting them in front of the vendors they need also to make sure that their pipeline is where it is. Because if they're really in control of their business, they know that they've got to have a good insurance agent to send to get a homeowner's quote. They know they've got to have a good warranty company. They know they really control a lot of it. So
Awesome.
that's my role there.
Awesome. And last but not least, making his second appearance on the show
Right.
in 2 weeks,
That's right.
Stephen Pine with Patterson Insurance Group. Steve, tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm a partner, like you mentioned, at Patterson and Associates Insurance. We're in Richardson, Texas. I'll be there 17 years on March 1st, so a little bit of commitment there, just to tie in the topic for today. But we're a full-service firm, property casualty from commercial, large all the way down to small. Also property and casualty as well on the individual side, home, auto, umbrella, those types of things. And we have an employee benefits department as well. So our goal is to service everything. We say our share is all of it, but really to put together a full portfolio that best protects our customers. But then in addition to that, I'm a husband and a dad, and also say a full-time coach in youth sports, which we talked about a little bit last time, Lyndon, with both of my boys.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Awesome. All right. So, commitment. What is it? Define it for me. I want everybody's explanation of what they think commitment looks like and feels like. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. Okay. To me, since
I
nobody
like
else
that.
jumped
Just
in.
jump
Go
right
for
in.
it.
I'll
Just jump right in.
Go
Right.
for it.
Basically, to me, it's plain and simple. Doing what you say you're going to do. It's following through with what you say. This is what I'm going to do. It's my commitment. And if you, that's just to me the basic. And it's also a relational issue. It's having a relationship with somebody that you feel like you can commit your own resources or your time and or your trust in them. It's also about trust. But to me, it's pretty much just doing what you say you're going to do.
That's good.
To follow
I mean, that's a very simplified, not to
Mhm.
say, I mean, but it is. I mean, it doesn't get much easier than that. If you say you're going to do it, right? What about you two? Brian, I can see the wheels turning.
Well, I'll go in a minute.
I guess that means I'm next.
You're up.
You know, I liked your definition of commitment, and just to tag along to that, I see commitment as an attitude, and so what I mean by that is really, in order to be someone who's fully committed to something, I think you have to approach it with a servant attitude, meaning it's not about what you get out of it, but it's about what you can do for other people, and with that attitude, and we have a lot of examples of that through history, right? But with that attitude, I really think that's the only way you can truly commit to doing something that you say you're going to do. I think that's a lot of what's going on in today's society is commitment's more about what I get out of it, which in turn really isn't commitment. It's about I'm going to do this until it's not convenient for me, and then I'm going to step aside and do something else.
Excellent. Good.
So, and I look at great answers, by the way, and I take a lot of notes on this show, so I will come back to remember what you guys said because I will remind you. If you don't remember, I will remind you. So we're good on that. I look at this, and both of those definitions are great. I also think it has a lot to do with willpower and determination for me, and being able, Stephen, like you said, being able to see the overall impact. How did I impact my relationships from my wife or to my children or my colleagues or my profession or my industry? And I think that is critical that we embrace that.
Mm-hmm.
The follow through and the follow up, the doing what you say that you're going to do has that aspect of integrity and character. Do we look at ourselves in the mirror and have a smile on our face when we go to bed? Are we at peace with ourselves? Or do you look at yourself in the mirror in the dark? So you don't have to see that pure reflection and you just go to bed and hopefully it will go away, because it doesn't go away in the morning when you wake up. But I look at this willpower and determination. Basically, shoulders back, head up. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it past the pain points. I'm going to do it past the points of where it just gets boring we talk a lot about attention spans, especially in our society today, and we utilize terminologies, the psychological terminologies of ADHD or attention deficit, or I just can't focus anymore. Yeah, yes. Let me give you a hug, and then let's talk about something that you're really, really passionate about.
Right.
That's
Because once I talk to somebody about what they're really passionate about, ADHD, attention deficit, focus goes completely out the window.
Mhm.
So when we're looking at commitment, me personally, I love the willpower. I love the determination. And I love what you guys say, because I know that the end result is going to be impactful, not only just to me, but into the people that I'm around.
Okay, so and that's a great segue into what I want to talk about a little bit on this. And in studying and what I've been looking at, I think that far too many of us, and Stephen, you hit on this, you did with the follow through. But I think that when a lot of us talk about commitment, we are committed in our minds to a certain result, not the process to which it takes to get that result. Therefore, a lot of times we have an unrealistic expectation of when that reward, that result should manifest itself,
Mhm.
right? And in a microwave society, it's really easy to cut bait before you get to where you need to be. And the people that I have seen be the most successful are the ones that are so fixated on the process. Hey,
Mhm.
Stephen, you've been working out ever since I've known you. Believe it or not, you guys, I used to work out too. He knew me back in my good days, in my younger days. But you're an Olympic lifter, right?
Yes.
There's a big process that you go through. Obviously, you have a goal set of what you want to lift.
Right.
But without going through a process and hitting every workout the way that you're supposed to, with the intensity that you're supposed to, and addressing the setbacks when they happen, whether it's
Right.
an injury. I mean, in weightlifting, as much as anything else, there's going to be setbacks before
Yes.
you achieve that goal.
Correct.
Most of them are going to be physical.
Right.
There's going to be an elbow, a shoulder, a back. It's going to be something that draws you back. If not, there's no telling how strong and how fit we could actually be, right?
Right.
And so having the commitment to the process, I think, is what's going to ensure consistent results. What do you think about that? What are your thoughts?
great.
Yeah, I agree 100%. You make a great analogy, and I was actually thinking about that as you were speaking with the weightlifting aspect and Olympic weightlifting for sure. And I'm looking at who's joining here, and one of my coaches is on here watching. But it is in all of sports. The process is extremely important. One of my favorite coaches, Nick Saban, addresses the process all the time. But in Olympic weightlifting, I've played almost every sport. It is by far the most difficult uh, to to continue the process, because it's 1 kilogram at a time, and Olympic weightlifting is kilos. It's not pounds, but it's 1 kilo at a time, and that can take up to 6 months to gain 1 kilo on any
Mm-hmm.
specific lift. And so the grind, the process, the commitment, the unconditional commitment, right? Um, it is something that is very physical, but also even more so mental as well.
But it's rewarding
Extremely rewarding.
because I think our biggest challenge and why we all struggle and fail is being challenged with the process
Right.
and giving up or turning our attention. And you talked a little bit about the distraction.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of times we pray for distraction. If I can just be distracted, I can get off track, because this is getting hard. Something,
Well,
please distract me.
it could also
Right.
be an excuse. So,
Well, I didn't want to say it that way, but
well,
yeah.
why wouldn't you?
Well, I guess I should have.
Okay.
Um,
Well,
but yeah, it is. I think that we look forward in a way, or kind of excited when, oh, I got to go put a fire out. I got to go do something else, or some bigger, better, a
Right.
shinier object came along, and now this process that's so tedious,
Right.
because that's the the gist of the whole thing, is a lot of times
Right.
it's just tedious. It's
Absolutely.
a tedious process with no glory,
Mhm.
no attention, no recognition. The recognition comes way at the end. And I don't think that sometimes we have the patience to see that through, as Kendra said when we started.
Right. And you're using the word, you use the word patience, you use the word process. So here's my algorithm, and you guys just tell me if this is, it sounds right or doesn't. So, we're talking about the commitment to the process. And, if you would give me a workout plan, I could follow that. That would be the process. The result is either going to be the goal or the impact that I'm going to get, correct?
Mhm.
So I found that a lot of people it's really easy to commit to the result. Not so easy to commit to the process. Yeah, you might do it. But the real big thing that we haven't talked about yet is, are we committed to the time it's going to take? So then you go process plus time equals result. Because you can't just go process equals result, because that doesn't work. So you're going to have to put process included with the time. Are you going to sleep right? Are you going to eat right? Especially if you're working out. Working out is great, but if you ate, fast food, or I have a friend that works for one of the major producers of, let's just say, snack food.
Mm-hmm.
So they have bags of these chips and
You mean
bags of
junk
those.
food?
Yeah, so we don't call it junk food; they call it snack food.
Okay.
Right.
So it's great and fantastic, but I couldn't live off that stuff. I mean, I couldn't, on a bench press, I just want to go sleep,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
which is not a good place to rest.
Well, one thing that, Stephen, obviously you have a full-time job. You're a husband and a father, and you coach. So if you're not committed to your workout, it would be really easy to skip workout,
You bet.
because that's probably on that list that I just talked about. Your wife, your kids, your job.
Correct.
Olympic lifting's down there about 4 or 5. Would you?
I would agree.
All right. So the more consistent you are in going to the gym, the more progress you're going to make.
Yes.
And so I know that there's got to be times where you're just like, oh, I'm tired,
Oh, yeah.
or and so that's where the commitment to the process really comes, because
Mhm.
you're not getting the result that day.
Right. That's right.
And today I was at a networking meeting. I was discussing with a realtor, just different avenues of how she's getting her job done and different processes. And one of the things that I always want to tell everyone that's in real estate, and I even look back at myself because I was a realtor for 3 years, is that it's the commitment, the consistency, and continuity. You can't stop working. You have to treat it like it is a business, not like it's just a part-time job, or it is your career, it is your business. You have to be an owner, and you have to own your business, and you can't stop. One of my team lead, Jackie Dorbritz, she was like, her little words, and if she hears this, her words always ring true in my brain. And it's about be bright, be bright, be brief, be gone. But it's also don't stop, get focused. Make sure you're at the office. Make sure you come to the office. Treat this like it's your job,
Mm.
and don't stop working because you don't see the results.
Right.
And you only see the results for 6 months out of the year. The other 6 months, if you're not working those 6 months, you're not going to see the results. So it's an interesting process to try to get that across to someone. And you see the people that are most productive, and in the top 500, they're the ones constantly working. They don't stop.
Well, you mentioned earlier, you talked about pain points,
Mhm.
which and we'll get to this in a minute, but we talk about conditional versus unconditional, and I do want to say this briefly, in coaching, when I'm coaching, and I will suggest a process to someone. There's 2 red flags that just always just baffle me. Number one is, how long is this going to take and how hard is it going to be? The other one is, how much is it going to cost? Okay, so that just tells me, are you really wanting the result? Are you just wanting the result, right?
Right.
So you talked about pain points and you talked about time. How can you have commitment if you put any of those in the equation? Is a true commitment, like with Olympic lifting and a kilo every once in a while? I mean, when I was powerlifting, we did count it in pounds because we were too dumb to count it in kilos. So it was all about pounds. But once you get to a certain level, 1 pound is a big gain.
Big game.
And, I've seen the difference between setting a state record just, just a couple of ounces away.
Right.
But when you're truly committed, The commitment that you have is I'm committed until I get the result I want. That's a commitment.
Or committed through the result you want.
I think, but I agree with that. I think for so many, that's the same thing. If you've got a goal set and where you want to hit with a lift, right before you even get to that, before you even accomplish that, you've already set another goal.
Absolutely.
You already know that one's attainable.
Absolutely.
That's attainable. I'm going to be excited when I get there, but my next one now is up here, so I'm preparing for it already.
I think that's the case, Lennon, in a lot of things. It's anything sports related for sure, which is why I love sports, because it relates so well to business. I like what Kendra stated about owning your business. You know, in our industry with insurance, it's we hire producers, and we hire a lot of former athletes that are producers because they're committed. They know what it takes to compete. In order to compete, you have to commit. But I do think there are different levels of commitment, not mentally and not how you approach it, but I do think there are time frames on commitment, especially in business, because there is an element of when you're bringing in someone new, we like to commit to say, look, we're going to commit to give you the best opportunity to make it in this industry, and that's all that we can do, right? And so obviously I've got to put the effort in for someone that I hire to come in and be successful. And they've got to commit to me that they're going to give it everything they've got to become successful. There are times where it doesn't work out, right? And you move on, and you move on in that commitment.
That's a great point. We're going to take a quick commercial break here. If Mark is ready over there, I ran over. Apologize, Mark. We're going to take a quick commercial break. If any of you out there that are listening and watching, and you've got some comments, please comment. We would love to hear your ideas and debate and discuss those a little bit. But we'll be right back, and I want to pick up where that was, Steve, because I agree with that. I think there is a cutoff point for commitment in some circumstances. And so I kind of want to get you guys' thoughts on that. So we'll be right back.
3, 2, 1. KVGIRadio.com.
Y'all have really just opened my bubble and just...
KVGI Radio brings you conversation and entertainment. Be sure to follow us on social media. Who streams the best talk shows? We do.
You're listening to KVGIRadio.com. Streaming live from the KVGI studios in Frisco, Texas. Live without limits.
Welcome back. We're here today with Steve Pine, Kendra Strawn, and Brian Dobbs.
Hello.
All three of you. We're here with y'all. And we're talking about commitment. And before we get started back and get back with Steve, what he was saying, I want to say thank you and show some appreciation to the sponsors that make our show work. First off is Holly Haggard with Geneva Financial. Holly wants you to know that she doesn't just work 8 to 5. She works start to finish. She's been in the mortgage industry over 18 years. She's got the knowledge. She meets her contract dates. But the one thing that Holly offers is she offers you a personalized financial plan that's proven to build wealth after the process of getting you a home loan. So for many of you, that's an added value. So you can reach Holly at 817-761-5626. All of our sponsors, you can find them on our website, not a website. You can find them on ours, actually, which is where they should be.
Should be.
You agree?
I do.
Okay, thank you. The next one I want to say thanks to Adam and Liz Terrell with the Real Estate Triangle. They have created a online support group of real estate professionals. It's for small business owners that surround the real estate transaction, from inspectors, roofers, lenders, electricians. It's an endless list. So if you are someone that's in the real estate industry, whether you're a realtor, roofer, whatever it may be, if you're looking to partner with exceptional people, you can find those in the Real Estate Triangle. The Real Estate Triangle is currently in Dallas, Waco, Austin, Tulsa, Oklahoma City, Las Vegas, Little Rock, and Northwest Arkansas. Next, James Kern with Delicate Moving. James done over 20,000 successful moves, not by himself. He has people that helps him. And he's got an A+ rating with that was funny, wasn't it?
That was really funny.
Well, I just want to make it clear. I don't want to oversell him. A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, elite service provider, and home advisor. 5-star rating on Angie's List. So if you're looking to move, don't hire your friends. Beer is too expensive. Hire James. Brian Poduska with Real Property Management Focus. Brian's the owner and president of Real Property Management Focus. If you're looking for someone to help you with your property investments, management, things like that, give him a call. You can reach him 469-820-0088. And finally, Josh Small with WeatherTech General Contracting, roofing, remodeling, all your construction and home building needs. WeatherTech can be reached at 469-544-3958. Now, back to commitment. We were talking a little bit about time, right? And my thought before he blew that out of the water was that you were committed to get the result that you want, regardless of the time.
Right.
But he threw a caveat in there, because sometimes we're investing into someone, and we only have a certain time before we have to move on if they're not getting the job done. So I know that you off air, you were talking something about it. You have anything else to share on that, Steve?
No, I mean, I really don't, other than just want to make sure that we're, I guess, under the understanding that I don't know if every commitment is for a lifetime. There are commitments to people that you run across in life that it is a time frame, just depending on the situation.
I agree. Yeah.
And I think that's a great point, because of the wisdom and the discernment needed on that. I can just tell you from personal experience that I've had a situation, had a business. I thought it was going well. It really wasn't going as well as it needed to go, and I was committed. I was absolutely committed. To drive that thing completely in the ground, and that was more stubborn for me, and I think a lot of people fall into that place. I'm not the only one, and we stay committed, and if you have commitment in your heart, your spirit, you will be committed until you don't eat anymore, or if you don't sleep anymore. So I think that wisdom and discernment here, let's put that into the equation, that it may be for a lifetime. Absolutely. Right. It's a marathon. And it may be for a season. But if I run the race and I do everything I can do in that season, I have to know in my heart of hearts, hey, listen, I did what I could do, and I can't do anything else. So I think that when, hopefully when we look at the professional arena, we're talking to people that are committed, but they might not be committed because they're really just unhappy in their job. They're unhappy in their position.
But
Go
could
ahead.
they be unhappy because they haven't been committed?
That could very well be the case, or they're in the wrong position.
Or they can't evaluate. They don't have the ability to self-evaluate or evaluate. Is my commitment really doing me a disservice? The commitment to that I have to make this business work. I have to make it work. I have to make it work. Maybe it's not going to work. Maybe they're not the right person for it. Maybe they're not using the tools they need to get the job done. It's like the self-evaluation, being able to
Right.
evaluate the whole issue of people come into our lives for a reason or a season or a lifetime. Being able to evaluate and reevaluate and take a step back and look at what really is working and isn't working.
Absolutely.
And then I honestly, the last few jobs, I've done it every, week or so. I feel like I'm beating a dead horse. I just got going to this lender, going to this realtor. Nothing's happening. Done everything for them. It gets to the point where it's like, okay, there needs to be some type of reciprocation there. And so you're like, okay, well, I'm going to reevaluate. I may not be committed to that person. I may
I agree with
step
that.
aside.
And especially when you're working in a partnership, if they're not reciprocating, I mean, at your commitment level, there's going to be some reckoning at some point in time.
Absolutely.
The other thing that you just made me think of in your self-reflection and self-awareness, I think sometimes when we get into a commitment, and Steve, I think you will relate to this. When back in my younger days when I was bodybuilding, I sought out people that I would look at that were kind of at the level I wanted to be, right? And I would discuss with them, what did it take to get there?
Right.
Okay, what did you have to sacrifice? What did you have to do? What was, what are some of the obstacles that you were faced with? Because I wanted to have all the facts that I needed to know what kind of battle I was in for. And then I made my decision. No, you're willing to sacrifice way too much than I am. That's not balance in my life. Yeah. Or I can do that.
Right.
And I think the same thing, I think that's where we miss sometimes in business.
Agreed.
Is we're not seeking out people that have accomplished what we're looking to accomplish, to find out what that road looks like.
Right. We're not counting the cost.
We're not. But I mean, it's like we quietly try to approach something, and if I'm going on a vacation and I don't have a roadmap, how do I know how I'm going to get there? If I don't know what the obstacles are along the way, where's the fork in the road? Where's the bridge that's out? I'm going to have some trouble.
Right.
And at some point in time, I may just decide it's not worth trying to get there. But if someone had told me before I started that, there's going to be some road construction here, there's going to be, some weather, there's going to be some things that you're going to have to endure through the process. But if you do it the way that I did it, you can get there.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times, and not to cut you off, I think a lot of times we get caught up in the commitment to the result because we see all the ancillary benefits and the fluffiness and the, oh my goodness, the fame, the power, the wealth, that would solve all of my problems here. Yes, it could, but yes, it could also cause more problems. Because if you ever place yourself, and I talk about gift mix, your passion, your signature message, we talk about core values all the time. If you are properly placed in the right arena, then I believe that your commitment can last a lot longer. I just do. My son, he likes to lift weights, and I really need to get him connected to a Facebook page that you're on because he's 16 and lifts more weight than I weigh a lot. So, but anyway, he's committed to that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, well, Gabriel, you could go play football or you could go do this or that. He doesn't want to do that.
Yeah.
And I don't want to force him because I mean, just because I'm a dad, like, you could do anything. And he's extremely athletic. But if I place even my son in the wrong placement, then what happens is he doesn't utilize his gift mix. It's not something he's passionate about. And I think, whether it's in business or relationships or whatever, I really believe that that commitment is going to be, it's definitely tied in for me to my passion.
And I think you're right about that. I think that, understanding your core values, which is what we always go to as a basis and a foundation. How is this going to play? Because there may be a career move, or a business that you start that would have, due to time commitments, could have a negative effect on your family life.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that in order to really make a true commitment, we got to delve into all of that and see, does this fit my long-term goal? Not just the result that I would get out of that,
Exactly.
Right.
but including the process.
Right.
Am I going to be a better person with a better life, with a better family when I get to that result, given my commitment, or is it going to have a negative impact elsewhere? And I would think that, that's something, again, going back to, your passion for lifting and the sacrifice of time you have to, where do you find that time, because you've got these other things that are going to be your priority first. I mean, imagine, Steve, if you didn't have a job, if you were in the Olympics as an Olympic lifter and all you had to do is get up in the morning, eat, lift, sleep, eat, lift, sleep, the progress that you could make.
Sure.
So you have accepted, the balance of where you are, and and the progress that you make pleases you, right?
Right. Absolutely. It's interesting because earlier in my adulthood, I guess, I learned not to overcommit because I did it too much, where you commit to too many things and you spread yourself thin, right? And so I'm a man of faith. I think that's okay to probably talk about on here, but
Absolutely.
I was studying Nehemiah this morning, and Nehemiah's prayer in Nehemiah chapter 1, and his commitment to get right before he committed. So Nehemiah in chapter 1, he prayed for 4 to 6 months about his ancestors in Jerusalem when the wall was being burned down, because he's committed to his family. He prayed for 4 to 6 months, fasted, did everything he can to get right with God and get right with him inside and spiritually before he presented his petition to God to save his people, right? And I think that's something that we lack, is the preparedness and the preparation,
Right.
and I guess the research, right? We're not analyzing the cost, right? Before we dive into it. It's like we buy it without even knowing the cost,
Right.
a lot of times, right? And so I think that's something that we miss, is analyzing, what is this going to take? How am I going to prepare? And through this preparation, then I analyze and I find out if it's something I want to commit to.
Yeah, I think that's also something that, like, I've learned just working with Linda, working with Brian, and also just what I try to even bring to the workplace is that the vision and the goal setting,
Yeah.
the pure and simple goal setting. And
Right.
we're even doing some of that this week in our office, kind of vision board. And someone may say, vision board in February? Well, there are people that haven't quite gotten back in the loop of things, and they need some vision. And if they really want to be successful, they've got to put it onto paper. They've got to get it down. And it's as simple as goal setting, knowing where you want to be, and then it's, of course, my role is to help them get there eventually, and
Right.
give them some of the tools. But if you don't know your goals and where you want to get to, how are you going to get
And it's more than just setting that big audacious
Yeah,
goal, right?
little
It's the
goals.
measurable goals
Yes.
that'll
Mhm.
help you get
Right.
Like, I had one of getting a puppy, and I already did.
there.
Proud of you. So proud of you.
No, I'm crazy. I'm just nuts, is what I am.
So back to Nehemiah, because that's an amazing illustration. Thanks for even bringing that up. So Nehemiah had this passion and heartbeat from the Lord. I mean, his heart was absolutely, completely focused on taking care of his people.
Right.
And who in this world doesn't want to take care of their people? Honestly, who doesn't want to take care of their family? Who doesn't want to take care of their tribe or their community? But Nehemiah had this massive compelling from the Lord. So he spent time in prayer. But what did he see? He saw, hey, listen, if I could go rebuild
Mm-hmm.
the wall. And then he has to go. So he found the wall, but when he went back to the king that he was serving, what happened? He petitioned the king, right? And the king gave him all the material
Yep.
and the labor force. So when I was looking at this prior to you even bringing that up, it was evaluate, ask, seek a mentor,
Mhm.
and model, because that's important. What are we building? What does it look like? Who did it? And then how and where does this fit into my life right now? And then number 4, if I would continue to write, would be, to communicate. There'd have to be a level of communication that has to up the ante when I'm looking at this. So now I figure out, how does this fit in my life? Where does it fit in my life? Now, who's in my life now that I would need to get buy-in to the vision?
Mhm.
Right.
Because if we don't do that, guess what? Your weightlifting would not work if your family did not support it.
Right.
My hobbies, my activities would not work if my wife and my children didn't support it.
I think that's a great point, because I think so many independent contractors, great commission, entrepreneurs especially, one of their biggest challenges is the people that are closest to them not understanding their vision and the
Right.
passion
Mhm.
and commitment to achieving that vision.
Mm-hmm.
They don't share the vision. And a lot of times your biggest distractions and your biggest negativity comes from the people closest to you.
It can, if you don't
Absolutely.
communicate with
Well,
them.
that's the thing. And I'm not sure that it's communicated well, and that where you can show this is so important to me. I'm not asking anything out of you, just, if you can support it. But be eyes and ears for when I may just get a little bit too consumed with certain things I shouldn't be consumed with, right?
Right, but and I'm going to push back a little bit, just healthy here.
Okay.
So sit back. You don't have anything to do with it. I'm going to disagree with that, because they're going to be part of the cost. It's going to cost them too.
No. I wasn't saying they didn't have anything to do with it.
Well, repeat what you just said then. As far as you sit back here, it's not going to. How do you say that? Guys, help me out.
I don't remember. I don't take the notes like you do.
So, but it was.
Apparently, he didn't take good notes because he didn't have. He didn't know either.
Well, I'm gonna bring somebody else over here to take notes for me. It's really funny. But when you're looking
I
at,
don't know what I said, but that would definitely not be, because I think that you have to have them on board. They have to share.
Correct, but they're also going to. What I'm saying is, they're also going to experience part of the pain of the process.
They're going to experience more of the pain than the
and
than the
that
result.
They're going
Agreed.
to.
that's what is not communicated enough. We commute. I'm a visionary. I have this crazy faith that I'm like, oh well, we can do da 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 da, and we can have every single bit of this, and this is what we're going to be able to have and do, and be able to have the freedom and the financial independence. I never communicated, hey, listen, it's going to really, really suck for a while.
Yeah.
Guys, it's going to be hard. I'm going to be locked up into my office for about 9 to 12-hour days. It's going to be miserable. Dinner is not going to happen immediately at 5 o'clock. There's going to be some times that we're just going to have to, figure it out on the fly. Are you all right with that?
Right.
And that's where I'm learning, and I want to become a better communicator, especially when it comes to commitment, especially when it comes to following the Lord and making an impact. Those are important things. They've been important to me since I was 16 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm rolling with 32 years of walking with this massive vision that Nehemiah had, or David or Joshua or Joseph, or you name it. All those men had amazing vision. Moses stuck in the back of the wilderness for 40 years, still committed. That stuff's cool
That's
to
commitment
me.
right there.
Yeah.
But when you can talk to the people around you and go, hey, listen, I'm in this for the long haul, and it's going to have some really, really crazy gravel roads, but I love you enough. And if you just do shoulder to shoulder, at the end of the day, we're going to get the results because we put in the time, we put in the effort, we put in the commitment, we did the process, and God is faithful.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to stop right there. Take another commercial break here since I ran over earlier, if Mark's ready anyway. So you guys hang in there with us. We would love your comments on some things that, and your opinions on commitment, maybe some things that you've struggled with or some things that you've been able to do that's really built strong commitment with yourself and those around you. So hang with us. We'll be right back.
3, 2, 1. KVGIRadio.com.
Y'all have really just opened my bubble and just.
KVGI Radio brings you conversation and entertainment. Be sure to follow us on social media. Who streams the best talk shows? We do.
You're listening to KVGIRadio.com. Streaming live from the KVGI studios in Frisco, Texas. Live without limits.
Welcome back. Thank you guys for tuning in, hanging around, and being a part of our show today. Today we're talking about commitment and the value of commitment. What we want to talk about next, we've got about 5 minutes we want to discuss on this, and then we're going to finish the show with something kind of special today. But we wanted to talk about, I wanted, just to get you guys thoughts, ideas on the value of commitment and how people around us perceive our commitment level. Or we all want to attach ourselves to a very disciplined person, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it can be contagious, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're the sum of the 5 people you hang around with.
Yes.
If you're hanging around with people that have low commitment levels, you're probably going to have one too.
Mm-hmm.
If you're hanging around people that have high standards and high commitment levels, you don't want to be the weak link. Most people don't anyway. So let's talk about that a little bit, about how we are perceived with an interaction, transaction, whatever it might be. I know that we've all, between coaching, business to business relationships with both of you, we've experienced that.
Mm-hmm.
And we have an opinion when it's over. Was it good? Was it bad? The value that comes from that. And I think that's something we don't understand. We see, if I put my time and effort in, I get something back. But a lot of times, if I'm committed and put my time and effort in, I give more value as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right? I become valuable to the people around me, which then elevates my value even more. So let's talk about that. Who wants to go first?
I'm happy to go first. I'm not sure how people perceive my commitment. but I know how I hope they perceive it. Um, there's a partner at our office, another partner of ours. And he has a little sign. I think it was Zig Ziglar who said, and he has it in his office, but it says, "If you help enough people get what they want, you'll in return get what you want."
Absolutely.
Um, and the way that I want to be perceived from commitment, and I believe that the value of commitment, just to touch on that for a second, is huge. By the way, it's one of those core umbrellas that your core values cannot happen without a commitment, without a core umbrella of commitment. But I would like for other people to perceive that the commitment that I give to them, business doesn't matter, family, friendships, is that I'm going to give you everything that I've got to help you become a better person, to help you become better at what you're doing. So if you send somebody to me for insurance, right, I'm going to commit to them. I'm going to give you the best effort I can to do a full market analysis to help protect you, protect your assets. And if I can't do it to the extent to which you already have it, I'm going to tell you. So my commitment is to work extremely hard for you and to give you an honest opinion when it's time to come back to you. You're either in the best spot or I can help you. But you need to know that I've done everything I can for you. And that's a small example of business, but I hope in life that's how most people want to be perceived. I truly hope
Absolutely.
that.
That's great. And
Mhm.
I will say this. I told Brian this early. Some of you out there watching know, but I've known Steve since he was 16 or 17 years old. I watched him through high school sports, followed him a little bit when he was in college, and watched him through his professional career. And one reason why I wanted you on this show to be a sponsor, because the things that you're saying, you are perceived that way.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
You know, you're well respected by everybody that I know, and that's the type of value we want to bring to the show. That's
Appreciate
why
that.
you two are on here as well. Not everybody
Thank you.
gets to sit in these seats. Not that I'm that special, but I want special people around me. And so I did want to say that
Thank you.
you know, our commitment level to bringing things that's going to make the difference.
Mhm.
That's what we're here for, and hopefully we can help other people that are listening. So, got about 30 seconds. Who wants to go next?
You want to say anything?
Yeah, I'll say something real quick. So I think I'm the same way Steve is. I'm not quite sure how I'm perceived. I do know that I get a lot of feedback from people saying that I'm always out there. I'm always in front. I'm always doing something. And sometimes there was a point in time in my life that I didn't take that correctly. I felt like, oh, that's not okay. But it is a good thing because I want people to know I'm there to help. I'm always there to assist them with their business. Yes, hopefully the end result is that I will get to receive their business and get the honor of working with them. But I really enjoy connecting people. I enjoy getting them the goals and the things that they need to have to be to be successful. So perception is a tough one because that's again self-awareness, and I know that there's maybe perception sometimes that I may not be working as hard as I should be, even though I know I am. But it's a different type of working. It's a consistency, constant. But it's interesting. It's just that whole perception. You never really know until people just tell you things, say things.
Right.
Right. And I'll wrap that up, and then we'll get to you, Brian, and talking about breaking free. But Steve, you started this off talking about having a servant's attitude, and I think that when we can show our commitment is to serve, not just to sell,
Right.
we're doing the right thing.
Mhm.
Yes, sir.
So, all right. So I told you guys watching, got a special moment. Keith Toogood just joined. Keith, by the way, we were talking about you earlier. It was all good. So I can't wait to have you on the show too. He's got a very interesting project going, and can't wait to share it to you. So, Brian, you're involved with Breaking Free.
Correct. So one of the organizations that I volunteer with, spend time with, is Breaking Free. Breaking Free actually has a facility here in Anna, Texas. So they have a local side, and then they also have a facility in. I say facility. They have a ranch, so to speak, in Costa Rica. But this organization reaches out and helps young men and young women that are addicted to drugs and alcohol, substance abuse. And the neat thing about this, one, the founder and I go back 32 years. I mean, from where we were on the streets doing street evangelism, telling people about the Lord, where I actually in my early 20s went and moved to Georgia and youth pastored for for Scott and Melanie. They were pastors of a church, and we spent some time ministering together. Fast forward, how life just happens. We circled back around, and I got to hear about what Scott was doing here locally in Anna, Texas, and it was absolutely fantastic. And when I went there, the thing that really just stuck out to me, it wasn't Scott and Melanie were doing all the work. It was everybody. I mean, from the young men and women that were the actual residents, they were picking things up. They were working on a day-to-day basis. The structure is fantastic because they gravitated to the structure in order to help break them free of things that were causing their lives to be destroyed, disraveled, or disheveled. And it was such a neat thing because you watch these young men and women, and we prayed together, and they came up and they said, "You'll help us put the word out, and you'll help us with this fundraiser." And I said, "Absolutely." And they haven't had anybody from the outside helping them. They've done it all by themselves from an internal basis. Now they're still connected with some churches and some businesses, but what we want to do is really help bring awareness to breaking free, and we want to help them raise the support that they need. I mean, these young men and young women, they get up, their schedule. I do business coaching. Their schedule is more rigorous.
I'll
Rigorous.
remind you of that later.
Thank you. Write that one down. It's more rigorous than most of the professionals I deal with. I mean, it's crazy. However, the kids love it, and they're getting something from it. So it's not just and I'm going to say this tongue in cheek. It's not a come watch me ministry. It's not, hey, listen, we just need your money, but we don't really need your support or your help. We just want you to watch us. And it's not like that at all. It is hey, listen, we really could use your help. We really could use the shoulder to shoulder approach. Come in and get your hands dirty. Come in and boots on the ground, because these young men and women, one, they need our prayers. And Linda and I, we've talked about it quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
The program's fantastic.
Yeah. And you've got an event coming up in March 16th?
March the 16th.
Okay.
At 6:30, we're doing a fundraiser, silent auction. There'll be networking. So I'm asking our business community, if you're a business owner or if you're involved in a business, come out and support this. This is for Collin County. There is a crazy epidemic of drug addiction and drug abuse that nobody's talking about. It's silent. Families are ashamed, or they feel guilty, or they feel like they can't talk about it, but you can. And we can make this known, and we can get the word out for Breaking Free. But March 16th, go to Breaking Free. It's go to the Facebook page, sign up. The tickets for the event are $20. The kids are going to serve dinner, and then we're going to have a presentation. We'll have a silent auction. You'll find out different things about the ministry, how you can become a part, how you can donate, how you can, if you know of an area that needs landscaping, or of an area that just needs picked up, guess what? You can hire the kids to do it, and that money will go back into the nonprofit, and the kids will be able to work.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Good deal. Well, congratulations
Thank
on
you.
that.
Super excited about it.
If you guys out there are looking for something to get involved with to help the community and make the difference, I would encourage you to do that with Breaking Free. And you can get in touch with Brian. Brian will have his contact information on here later, or as he said, go to Breaking Free. So that's all we have for today. Our time is up. I want to thank all of you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, please share our Facebook page. We are rapidly growing. Our viewership right now on our shows are averaging about 2,800 people per show. I want to thank you all for tuning in. And anyway, follow us on, subscribe to our Facebook channel or our YouTube channel. Like us on Facebook. And that's all we've got today. So Remember, it's hard to make a difference until you're consistent in doing the things that make the difference. We'll see you guys next Tuesday.